Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day to you on this Wednesday, October 29th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride to work. We'll have an update on Justin Baldoni, why he has decided to remain silent amidst the ongoing Blake Lively versus Baldoni lawsuits. Very interesting stuff. We'll get into that. Back half of the episode, we'll talk about the SNAP benefits that Trump is using as leverage to try to get the government open again. 1 in 8 Americans rely on these food stamp benefits, and we're going to discuss what some states are doing. Arizona suing Trump. Massachusetts putting a disclaimer on their website, what they're doing to try to make it known this political game being played. We've got that plus a false flag attack underway in Venezuela, according to Venezuela. But first, we're going to get updates on Hurricane Melissa, and then we'll get into the Baldoni matter. But how about this? It's a Category 5 hurricane. Now, do not get your news from me right now. Please go find your expert meteorologist. There's plenty on YouTube. They've got 24-hour care. If you're in any of these areas, just please seek shelter. It's dangerous out there. Here's NBC Miami chief meteorologist John Morales, stunned, giving an update. This happened yesterday, live on air. He says, "Oh my Jesus Christ." Have a listen to this.
So I've gone for about 10 minutes here, and
180 now.
180. What's the pressure?
Pressure. This is Air Force flying into that.
Yeah, this is Adam Berg. He's giving me this
pressure
information.
is now down to 896.
Oh my Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, I'm going to hold it together here. So 896 millibars is stronger than Hurricane Milton when it made that run last year. Remember my viral moment last year? 50 millibars in 10 hours, right? It got down to 897 millibars. Now it turns out Melissa has broken or gone past Milton's wreck. So there's only one hurricane. There's only one hurricane in October and November in the Atlantic Basin that's ever been stronger. And that is Hurricane Wilma from 20 years ago. And by the way, Wilma was on dates earlier than the present date. Today's the 28th of October. So again, Melissa is the strongest hurricane so late in a hurricane season. So again, this is all history.
Wild stuff to see the live reaction from a meteorologist, how catastrophic this hurricane may be. So thoughts and prayers to our friends and family in Jamaica as the hurricane has made landfall. Again, I don't have up-to-date events. I've recorded this a few hours early, so go find the up-to-date information if you're in any of the pathways there. I mean, as of right now, this is Hurricane Melissa making landfall in Jamaica. It's just devastating. I was in Fort Myers this past week for a baseball tournament, and I was driving through Fort Myers, and it looked like it was war-torn. And I had to Google. I was like, did Fort Myers get hit with a hurricane? Sure enough, back in 2022, one of the biggest hurricanes to make landfall in that area with 150 mile an hour winds. Well, Hurricane Melissa, I guess the winds are upwards of 200 miles an hour. And this, 3 years later in Fort Myers, they're still rebuilding. So just devastating stuff there. So let's take a turn from that story to cover Justin Baldoni. We've been sharing Not Actually Golden, the attorney who covers Baldoni. Here's her response as to why Baldoni has been quiet. He has not released any information regarding some of the latest movements in his court battle, both his battle with Blake Lively and his battle with the New York Times. Here is Not Actually Golden's update.
Now not responded on Wayfair, has now not responded on the New York Times getting a judgment twice, and they are doing that on purpose. Not responding is their response. And the only reasonable explanation for that is that they are trying to keep their options open, right? Because if you respond to something and say, yeah, go ahead, I don't have a problem with that, then you have waived your right to ever argue that there was something wrong with it. If you argue against it and lose, then you are stuck with the arguments that you made against it. Like those are the only arguments you can bring up later if you try to challenge it.
So basically, in the court here, silence is not necessarily complicity, it's smart in order to maintain future options. Now, Baldoni's lawsuit against the New York Times was thrown out, but it appears as though they have the avenue to appeal that lawsuit. Now, with regards to his case against Blake Lively, yeah, there hasn't been too much going on right now. All of the information gathering has come to a close, right? All of the discovery, the depositions, and all of the entering of information and evidence has come to an end. Now they prepare for their live court dates. Now, I told you guys, you get me up to 100,000 subscribers, I will be there. So I have all intentions in the world to be in New York for March of 2026, unless the court case, of course, is delayed. But double check, confirm, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try my best to give you guys, look, it's a one-man show, but I try my best to give you guys all of the information on all of these different stories, and there are so many. Well, coming up next, we've got Sydney Sweeney, rumors that she might be the next Bond villain. I'll have this after a quick word from our sponsor. Today's episode of The Rush Hour is sponsored by Brick House Nutrition. We've all tried the fad diets over the years, juice cleanses, cabbage soup diet, raw food, etc. Doctors call it weight cycling. Half of Americans do it. And if you do it enough, you are at risk of diabetes, liver damage, heart attack, and stroke. Weight cycling is when you lose 10 or so pounds, but then you put the pounds back, plus a couple more. That puts tremendous strain on your organs and leads to serious health issues. Bottom line, most people need help to stop weight cycling, and here's a great way. Non-prescription Lean was created by doctors. Lean is an oral supplement, not a GLP-1 injectable, and the science is impressive. Its studied ingredients also target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar, it helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting it to energy. And burning fat helps keep the weight off. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace and keep it off, add Lean to your diet and exercise lifestyle. Get 20% off when you enter Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. That's code Rush Hour at TakeLean.com. I'd be okay with it. Sydney Sweeney on Bond Girl rumors. She was interviewed by Variety magazine, and now we're going to scroll down to the goods. She discussed this rumor and the idea that Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has something to do with it. She could hit similar far-flung locations by playing a Bond girl, something Amazon founder Jeff Bezos reportedly wants very much to happen. She did attend his wedding to Lauren Sanchez in June, and the trio are tangentially in business together on Sweeney's new lingerie line. When asked if there's any truth to the Bond rumors, Sweeney unravels for the first and only time. I can't. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know all the Bond rumors, but I've always been a huge fan of the franchise, and I'm excited and curious to see what they do with it. Yeah, listen, she says, depends on the script. That's what it always comes down to, right? The script. Listen, no one's gotten more shit thrown at them than Sydney Sweeney. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, right? She's lived a very privileged life of an A-list actress, but she has been nominated for awards, and yet she kind of gets slammed by acting professor. There was that acting professor who said they didn't understand her appeal, that she wasn't attractive. And look, maybe she's not everybody's cup of tea, but she is one of the biggest stars out there. And being a Bond villain, that's kind of like, it's not exactly winning an Oscar, but it is something that you become known for. Like, it is a thing, iconically speaking. Now, those Bond films do have a way of being very hokey and hack with some of the dialogue and the interactions. It's very, you're never making the script your own. It's like, stand on the dotted line and be the hot Bond girl, but you have the chance to bring your own villain energy to it. Who doesn't want to be that sassy villain? So anyhow, we'll have to see if she accepts the role. We don't even know who the next Bond is going to be. I'll play James Bond, not in a British accent. I'll get a haircut, whatever you need. Let me know. All right. I've got a lot to get into regarding SNAP benefits. Now, I understand this isn't the most exciting thing everyone wants to talk about. But our show here, we're water cooler. We give you the content for what you need to know about the day-to-day ramblings, whether it be pop culture or political. Now, so many people are shamed into not talking politics. Stay in your lane. I had an uncle recently say, stay in your lane. I'm like, bro, you didn't even congratulate me when I had my first child. So shut the fuck up. Don't tell me to stay in my lane. It's a piece of shit thing to say. But it happens all the time. But this isn't necessarily political, or it shouldn't be. This is our society. This is our beating heart. This is the giant family known as America, the United States of America. The family being how we take care of each other. Not just those we're blood related to, or that live on our cul-de-sac, or that look like us, or even that speak the same language. But how do we take care of those that also pay into a system? A system that's meant to protect us when we fall on hard times. When you ride the subway, they have the strap hanger. In case you fall down, there's something to hold on to. A guardrail, metaphorically, is put in place to keep you safe in case you slip and fall. And we've had that in our country, known as social programs. They've been called welfare programs, although that term has also been stigmatized to be like a welfare queen or living off the welfare system, even though there is subsidies that take care of us in so many different ways. There are subsidies on electric cars. So people like Elon Musk are actually the greatest welfare queen, right? He's somebody who has received lots of money in discounts and tax relief, and all these other things. And I say all of that because as we continue to discuss SNAP benefits, food stamps, we are days away from our president using that as leverage to put pressure on the Democrats to reopen the government. Now, the government is closed because the Democrats are arguing we will not sign off on opening a government that is going to cut the subsidies that we get for healthcare. So that's complicated, right? They're trying to extend long-term change to protect people from paying costs they just quite simply can't afford. And Trump is using systems like food stamps to say, I'm not going to release funding for food stamps, even though there's something like $5 billion set aside that covers things like this in times of a shutdown. He's saying, I'm going to hold this over your head. Now, I don't think Trump's ever starved. Have you seen him? I don't think he knows what it means to fall on tough times. He's always been there. He was born a millionaire or billionaire, and he's going to die a billionaire. And that's just the world he lives in. I personally don't know what it's like to starve. I know what it's like to have a mom on food stamps, and that's why I don't know what it's like to starve. Because I was raised, for a brief time on these types of programs that help my mom get back on her feet. And she's not rare. She's not alone. She's 1 out of 8 people that have relied on these programs. Massachusetts at mass.gov is fighting back. Look at this alert. President Trump is currently choosing to not issue November SNAP benefits to help you and many families put food on the table. Wow. So you've seen the federal government use the government shutdown to blame the Democrats. And now you're seeing I'm assuming Democrat-run website here saying Trump's, you want to come to this website and find out where your benefits are? Some money that gets direct deposited into your account so you can feed your family? Nope. Not going to happen. So food stamps, they're for Americans. They're Democrats, Republicans, Independents, people that it doesn't matter your political party. If you need help, you get help, right? We live in the richest country in the world. We shouldn't be worried about these types of things. And for those that say, well, maybe you're using food stamps when you shouldn't, find me a person that is so wealthy because they've acquired so many food stamps. Like that's just simply not true. So even if you happen to be the rare case of somebody who's got a full-time job and you also are on food stamps and you're not the brokest person out there, it's like, so what? So my whole point is, so what? If people need help, who are we to audit them? And again, there are systems that are set up to prevent fraud, but it just doesn't exist at the level that people think it does. And for those that look at food stamps and kind of snub their nose at it, how privileged are you to grow up in a location or skin color or whatever socioeconomic level you've been able to be born into? How lucky are you that you can look at one of these programs that's meant to help people and judge it? Fuck off. Seriously, fuck off, right? Well, we've got plenty of states, Arizona among 26 states, suing Donald Trump over pause in SNAP benefits. So people aren't messing around. Arizona was, a state that Trump won. This isn't a Democrat versus Republican issue. This is Are you in support of Americans or not? This is all this is. You've got California sending their National Guard to literally help put food boxes of food together. Like, this is what the system was meant to do, to protect us, to help us. This is what we've all paid into our taxpayer dollars into. A comment says, but the ballroom will be beautiful. So again, never have we lived in a time where we've had greater wealth disparity. A ballroom going up with donations by billionaires because they have the funds, and we have people that are literally in food lines trying to make it, trying to just be okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene. This has been reported by Caitlin Collins. She's completely flipped sides. Marjorie Taylor Greene, following today's GOP conference call, says, I demanded to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republican plan for healthcare is to build the off-ramp off Obamacare in the ACA tax credits to make health insurance affordable for Americans. Johnson said he's got ideas and pages of policy ideas, and committees of jurisdiction are working on it, but he refused to give one policy proposal to our GOP conference on our own conference call. Apparently, I have to go into a SCIF to find out the Republican healthcare plan. A SCIF is that controlled room where you have to go to for highly sensitive material. Now, this is interesting because the Democrats did a lousy job of providing an alternative. They really did. Biden didn't take this seriously. Kamala Harris didn't take it seriously. But this healthcare crisis has existed since before Luigi may or may not have pulled the trigger. Okay? This healthcare system is so broken. And our senators, our congresspeople, they don't understand. They receive healthcare. We pay for them in our tax dollars to get lifetime healthcare. They're set. They don't have to worry about the guy who's got to, not go skiing because he can't afford to, take care of a hip if it blows out. So this healthcare issue is an issue that should and probably will lead to a revolution in our country. How much money are we being robbed of by mafia-like insurance companies that literally it's all administrative issues? And people say, well, if we do universal health care, if we pay into a government to do health care, the government's so inefficient. The government is inefficient, absolutely, but not nearly as inefficient as having insurance companies profiting off of your health and my health. So to that I say, royally fuck off. We're done with it. We had a baby. How much did it cost? I have no idea because we got billed from 17 different ways. The epidural dude, what's he called again? Anesthesiologist was out of network. I had to stand at the door where my son was being born to make sure everyone was in network so we could afford to have a baby. The hell are we talking about? So when Trump is finally pressed on it, he says he has concepts of a plan. No, he doesn't. What is it going to take for people to realize they have no plan? If it weren't for the government being shut down right now, we would be signing off on the 400% increase in insurance premiums for something like 20 million Americans. And those Americans that don't have to worry about the Affordable Care Act, those Americans that have their healthcare tied to their company, how lame is that? You indentured servant. You got to stay at a company you may or may not like because they dangle healthcare over your head? Go fuck yourself with this stuff. I'm done with it. It's bad. So what's the off-ramp from Affordable Care Act? What's the off-ramp from Obamacare? A universal system. Maybe the ultra-rich pay more in taxes. Maybe some people end up not paying for health insurance because they're not well off. Who cares? The overall benefit for all of us is so significant. We will pay less and get more. And those that say, well, in Canada, they need 7 months before they get a knee transplant. We limp. That's our healthcare system, is we limp. We don't want to go deal with all the insurance. So we sneeze ourselves to death at home. Enough is enough. And we'll have to see. I mean, look, Trump bans states from removing medical debt from Americans' credit reports. Hey, Republicans, how's that for states' rights, right? You want a small federal government. Now Trump's banning states from doing what the hell they want to do, removing medical debt. I know someone with $1 million in medical debt. She cannot buy a cell phone. She doesn't have the credit to own a cell phone, all because she was born with some genetic issues. Boy, land of the free, right? Speaking of land of the free, the U.S. has killed more what is this? Killing 14 more people in multiple strikes now in the Pacific. You thought this was a war that we were taking just to the Caribbean Sea. Now we're in this Pacific also blowing up these ships. Maybe these ships have cocaine on them. Maybe they don't. I believe in a world where you intercept ships with Coast Guard and you take a nice photo with all of that booger sugar you caught, and then you send people to trial. That's the world I believe in, not the world of blowing up these ships. But I guess people are signing off on all of this. I don't know. Here's this underreported news here by Real News No Bullshit on Instagram. Venezuela says it foiled a CIA plot to stage a false flag attack on a U.S. warship. Arrests 3 people, provides no evidence. All right, so there's no evidence towards this yet. A false flag attack, in the political sense, is a military act orchestrated in such a way that it appears to have been carried out by a party that is not, in fact, responsible. So the idea being that, and again, this is the conspiracy around 9/11. I don't believe in that conspiracy, but there have been absolute times where our government and others have done fake bombings or fake attacks that they then use as leverage to say, we need to do a real attack. You see this at peaceful protests where a cop might go in or someone undercover and they'll throw a brick through a window and say, all right, it got violent. And then they'll come in and all that stuff, right? So you see it happen. In fact, how about this? It might be happening right now in Gaza. Blasts heard after Benjamin Netanyahu orders Israeli military to carry out powerful strikes in Gaza. Israel officials have been accused of either paying terrorists or creating violence and ceasefire, creating a violations of the ceasefire in order to continue their siege. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea. But that peace treaty lasted, days? Not even? I think it actually lasted hours, to be quite honest. So it's wild stuff. So in a post on social media, Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello alleged that a covert cell financed by the CIA had planned to attack the USS Gravely, a guided missile destroyer currently participating in joint military exercises with Trinidad and Tobago. The objective, he claimed, was to fabricate an attack that could be blamed on Venezuela, thereby creating a pretext for a military intervention by the U.S. Now look, I believe this is happening. Now, I'd like to see the evidence behind this since some people have been arrested. I believe this is happening. I believe that's why the U.S. is bombing and blowing these fishing boats out of the water or possible drug ships, whatever the hell they are. I believe they're looking for a reason to justify going into a war with Venezuela. Now, will those that supported our president, MAGA and others, will they be all about a new war? No, absolutely not. A lot of people, they wanted Trump because they thought he was going to end these wars. And we have not seen that. I mean, he says he's ended 8 wars. Where? What are you talking about? Are you going to end the Russia-Ukraine war at day 1? No, didn't happen. No one thought it would happen. No reasonable person thought it would happen. Either way, we are one step closer to a hot war with Venezuela. Maybe Colombia too. Throw Trinidad and Tobago in it. By the way, let me tell you something. If we can no longer travel to Colombia, I'm going to be pissed because that country is amazing. I love Colombia. Colombians, we're on your side on this. You know what I mean? No, literally, there's no fentanyl coming from Venezuela. Now, does cocaine come from Colombia? Sure. But, this war on drugs just doesn't work. We've been on this war on drugs for so long. To be quite frank, I think the only solution is to decriminalize drugs, like Portugal and other countries have done. Decriminalize it. Yeah, cocaine's bad for you, but when it's not regulated and drug dealers end up cutting it with other things, it's even worse. Regulate it, sell it, and just monitor it the way they're doing with marijuana. That's the only solution I can see happening. So you don't have a bunch of people hiding in some bathroom doing rails of coke off of some hooker's ass, respectfully. But in the meantime, it's being used to justify a possible war. Well, here we have somebody who Donald Trump is not happy with, Rand Paul, and he is discussing the sort of abysmal farmer situation as farmers are going broke over the tariff policies. Have a listen.
There are probably 8 farm states. Maybe there are 10 farm states. That means there's 20 senators who have always believed in free trade, and they're all grumbling, and they're all like, China's not buying any of our, soybean this year. The tariff war with China has led to this. And they don't have the guts because it's their president And frankly, they're afraid.
It's so true. You saw Lisa Murkowski, right? The Republican senator out of Alaska. She literally was just afraid to vote no on that big, beautiful bill. They knew this was harmful, and they're just so afraid. And what are their fears? That they're going to be voted out of office because Trump's going to say it's like the lack of spine that they have in the way they're selling out their country is insane. There are few Republicans right now speaking up for what they know is going on that's just absolute wrong. One is, here we have a libertarian, right? Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky.
They're afraid that he will do to them what he's trying to do to me. And that's too bad, because it'd be a little easier on me if I weren't the only target, if there were other people willing to stand up.
Dude, this is going to sound stupid. This is going to sound so minimal, but I felt the same way about justice for Clayton. I felt the same way when I was sticking up for Clayton Echard when he was accused of all these things. I had Laura Owens threatening to sue me. I had all these things. And my thought was, where the fuck is everybody standing up for this obvious fraud happening right now? Now, again, I know it's a much smaller, low stakes thing, but it affected me personally. And here you have this senator going, wouldn't this work a lot better if literally every state came together and called bullshit on what's happening right now?
And oppose bad policy. I think the farm economy hangs on by a thread, and now they're talking about, oh, well, tariffs, yeah, maybe they're not so good for farmers. We'll give some farmers some taxpayer money. I don't know that there's enough money to be printed up. I don't know if you can print up enough for the farms, because I think you're going to have farm disasters.
Great. Farm disasters, just what we need. I've been looking into this a lot with this rancher issue and the fact that we have cattle herds that are declining rapidly, and we import more food than ever before. This is not good. We just had a pandemic where we couldn't get masks because they had to come in from other countries. We couldn't get PPE supplies. And now we don't have food coming here. And we're going to go into war, potentially, with a lot of countries that have agriculture. Does anyone else not see the issues going on here? Anyhow, can we end on a positive? Here's a story for you. By the way, this is for all of my good-looking audience members out there, because I've seen some of y'all. We have a very good-looking audience. Well, it turns out Donald Trump does not like good-looking people. So sorry to say it, folks. He's not a fan of yours.
Women of the rank and file, that's true. It comes from you people, incredible people, good-looking people, too many good-looking people. I don't like good-looking people. I never liked good-looking people, I'll be honest with you. I've never admitted that before. But see, I'm allowed to, we won in the Supreme Court a thing based on merit. You know about that, right? Merit. Everything now in our country is based on merit.
It's so weird. He's like, I don't like good-looking people, except all of those hot, inexperienced lawyers that I've hired. What's he talking about? Doesn't look good-looking people. That's why he doesn't get along with his wife. Hired a smoke show. All right, that's it for us this morning. Boy, we covered a lot. I mean, a lot of ground to cover out there, but we're here to pull it all apart every morning and every afternoon. Double check. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. God knows we've disgruntled a lot of people through our political coverage. But you know what? I'm not going to not talk about things that I feel are important to us. I think our world and life depends on it. And so I'm here for that, regardless of who is or who isn't. You know where to find me. Here's my backbone. Here's what I stand for. Not hiding behind anything. We'll be back this afternoon. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.